Hi, I'm Dan Leonard in the East.
And I'm George Whittam in the West.
And together we are East-West Audio Body Shop. Well, if you remember last week, I caught a cold at FAFCon, and guess what? I still have it, but it's not going to stop me because we have a great show this week. We've got a guy on who makes this stuff. Yeah, it's Eric Smith, the president of Auralex, is going to be here on our show. Now, we all use this stuff. Let's learn how they make it and why it's the best stuff to use out there.
I can't believe we're getting the guy, the founder of Auralex, right here on the show.
Big fan of our show.
That's so cool. I have a standing desk I'm working at now. You can't tell from looking at the camera, but I am actually standing. I'm standing barefooted on a boogie board, and I'll tell you why I think it's good for you and why I think you might consider doing that for your workstation.
Right. And in my tip of the week, I'm going to talk about phone patches. And I'm going to tell you how I really feel.
Yeah, we've got questions. We've got a few questions that have come in, and we'll address those. And we do have 5 mini pop stops left for you guys to pre-order or to be part of our big group buy and get that great deal. So jump on that at EWABS.com.
That's right. That plus announcements. That's East-West Audio Body Shop. This Sunday night, 9 o'clock in the East.
And 6 o'clock in the West.
We'll see you there.
He's the voiceover studio engineer of the Stars in Los Angeles, California, a Virginia Tech grad with a knowledge of recording studios unmatched in his field. He's a voice actor from Buffalo, New York, with 30 years experience in recording studios and behind the mic. He solves people's home voiceover studio problems in the blink of an eye. Together, there's no studio problem they can't solve, and they'll do it for you tonight. Welcome to East-West Audio Body Shop. Now, live from a basement in Buffalo and an office in L.A., here are Dan Leonard and George Whittam.
Good evening. I'm Dan Leonard in the East.
And I'm George Whittam in the West.
And together we are East-West Audio Body Shop. Actually, I was pointing west, but you guys don't know that. Well, good evening, everybody, and welcome to another EWABS. You know, I look into this chat room and how many people are already online. It's like, this is like, we're catching up to CNN for ratings, which isn't hard to do. You know, I'm amazed every week that you guys just keep coming here. We must be saying something right, or we're just leading you down the garden path to some weird place. But we've got a fabulous show for you tonight. Not that any other show isn't fabulous, but this one's even more fabulouser. Yes, that's an actual word if you're playing Words with Friends. We've got the president of a company that, you know, if you were watching the promo, you already know this, but we have the president and founder of the company of a product almost all of us use every day in our voiceover careers, Eric Smith, who is the president and founder of Auralex.
Amazing.
You know, I mean, it's this stuff. I mean, it's amazing what this stuff does. It's a special compound. People say, well, I'll just use some, you know, I've got some bed foam. And like, that's great if you've got like, you know, pulmonary edema or something, but it doesn't dampen the audio in your studio at all. It's a special formulation. And Eric's going to give us the exact, no, he's not going to give us the exact formula for it, but he's going to tell us, you know, about Auralex, and he's got some great stuff. We're going to talk about what his beliefs are in home studios and their construction, but more how you use it with your equipment. So that's going to be a great conversation.
I can't wait.
How's your week been? It's
been great. Yes, the rumors are true. My mom is visiting. She's in the house, and I'll probably have her pop in at the tail end of the show. Maybe bring Ella with her to make it interesting. But she's here, and she's having a great time visiting her only grandchild, and so that's a big deal. So everything's great. We're having fun. I've been able to take a little bit of time off to spend with her and Ella, and so we're enjoying the weather. And we've had like cloudy weather, but mixed with sun and clouds. And I did here you go. This is the ultimate in Santa Monica. I did yoga on the beach with my mom Saturday morning at 10:30, and it was cloudy, but about 72 degrees. I mean, it was amazing, beautiful, and we saw dolphins. So no complaints there. We're doing great.
Wow. Your mom does yoga?
She does. My mom's been doing yoga for a year, she said. So she said pretty much every week she belongs to this great health club that even includes yoga in the fee, which is unusual, and amazing facility that she goes to, and it's great. I'm so glad she's doing that. It's one of the best things you can possibly do to stay healthy and limber.
We just went off air.
Bummer, man.
It seems frozen.
What a bummer.
No, wait a second.
All right. Well, I'm telling the people in the chat room, sorry, folks, and I'm not so sure that I'm not so sure I have a lot of confidence tonight in Ustream's ability to stay connected. It's dropped it like 3 times so far since we've started testing. So cross your fingers, but we'll whatever we have to do, we'll glue the show back together with popsicle sticks and school glue afterward, and make one continuous episode and put it up on YouTube.
Right. Is it still recording?
It says it's been recording that whole time. It stopped the broadcast, but it's still recording. So go figure. Anyway,
that's the way I'm going to look at it.
Yeah. So anyway,
I've had an interesting week. I really couldn't work that much. I remember last week I had a cold, and as you can hear, it really won't go away. I mean, it's the infection's passed, but now I've got people in Buffalo know this. You develop this sinus stuff like the beginning of October, and it lasts until the next October. And it's it gets a little bad, and my voice is finally starting to come back. But I was doing some edits on a book.
Yeah.
And you're trying to match voice. Ooh. And most of the time, if you throw in a syllable or a word, you'll never notice. Well, right. I did most of the corrections, and the publisher's like, here, there's like 4 times we can tell you have a cold. Fix it.
Oh no.
So
no.
Yeah, but I mean, they were short little things. So what I did is here's a little trick for you. I just sort of made it run a little bit longer. I instead of trying to fix the word, I sort of matched the phrase or the paragraph, so you'll never know.
Oh, really?
But, yeah.
And that made it pretty much seamless?
Well, I always try to make it seamless. These, unfortunately, were not seamless initially, but now they are.
So in your case, is the publisher proofing your work?
Well, they are in this particular case. It's one of those things like, I don't have time for this, but
right.
So I'm letting them do it for this particular book. But I read the whole thing, so I figure I've done my thing.
There you go.
But that's a whole nother discussion. Yeah, we really have the people on from ACX and Audible, so we can take a baseball bat to them.
Well, we may have them on the show. I mean, I know they have an announcement for December that they are having some new policies put into place. So I think it'll behoove them to want to be out there and be seen on shows like this. So we will quasi-aggressively address or pursue them to be on the show for December.
Yeah, really?
I mean, I've got the contact for one of the founders now, so I will we'll dig in there and get him on the show, because I know he's got a lot of questions from you guys to address, and it's a hot topic. It's a really hot topic right now.
It is. Well, lots of personal stuff going on, but we're here for you guys, because you can care less what our lives are like. No, you tell us all the time. We love the show that way. But we've got things we want to talk about tonight about voiceover and home studios. If you've been here for the last 68 episodes, maybe you figured that one out by now. But let's start with what you're doing there and this unusual position you find yourself in, which is your standing.
My standing desk, yeah. I've been talking about this for a while, because I've been hearing more and more people who are putting standing desks into place in their workspaces. Now, I know a lot of you are working standing a lot because you're voicing standing, and coaches will tell you that's the best way to work. But after hearing all these people talk about working standing, I figured it was my turn to give it a try and see what it's all about. So the first thing I had to deal with was how exactly how logistically would I do this? Do I take my current desk and jack it up real high? Do I scrap everything I have, get a whole new desk? I had all these thoughts in mind, but I just didn't know what was going to be realistic for me to achieve in a short term without spending a ton of money to do something totally custom per se. So I started digging around, and there's some cool websites out there like Ikea Hackers or Ikea Hacks or
Ikea Hackers.
Yeah, there's like a blog of people that take Ikea furniture and combine them in unusual ways to make something new and something totally unique. It's really cool. I'm sorry if I can't remember the exact name. It's Ikea's hack or something. But if somebody in the chat room can find it, post the link in the chat room. But anyway, I'd seen a few ideas for standing desks, and they usually seem to involve stacking things. And I was like, well, that's easy. I can handle that. So then the search was on to find a coffee table. I figured the perfect thing to stick on top of my existing desk is just a big coffee table. The bigger the better, because you want it to cover I wanted it to cover as much of my desk as possible. So I still had enough room for my 23-inch monitors and all that. So and if you look at me like multitasking here, it's because I'm trying to pull up some pictures I took of it and put them on Google Plus, and I'm going to show you those shots, or at least the one usable shot, so you guys can see exactly what I'm talking about, because it's too difficult for me to get a shot of the desk simultaneously while I'm on the show. But basically the idea here is just to get everything that was on my desktop that I need, at standing height up where I can work standing, right? So the dual monitors, my monitor speakers, my keyboard, mouse, just the essentials. And the nice thing about having a coffee table, especially one that has a secondary layer, a secondary shelf underneath, is not only do I have this nice high workstation, but I now have a lot more spaces to put stuff. I've got 2 layers here. Now I've got the shelf that's on the desk, which is still within reaching, what's the word I'm looking for? Within convenient reach of my hand. So right now my mixer is on the second level below. And then on the main desk surface, I have the rest of the stuff, the hard drives, the computer, anything else I don't really need to have my hands on at the moment. And it's great. I tell you, I've done some support sessions, things where, I had to be standing for an hour or more. And I thought that was going to be a real drag. I was like, why stand when you could sit, right? But as it turns out, I actually like it quite a bit. And I think it's actually contributed to my energy level. And I'm not talking, metaphysical and everything. I'm just talking about how much energy I have when I'm on a call with somebody. Lately, especially, I feel like I've been getting a little bit just run down energy-wise. Like I feel like I'm a little overwhelmed with work, and I've been working late and all this stuff. And when I'm sitting on the phone at my chair for hours sometimes, I feel like I'm tuning out. And now that I'm standing up, I never feel like I'm tuning out, because you're standing and your body is being forced to be more awake. Your circulation is better. If you get your desk up nice and high, then your posture is better because you're not leaning over or anything. And that has absolutely worked wonders for me. I'm gonna make sure you guys have some pictures of the desk in the show notes, because right now Google Plus, everybody must be on Google Plus at the same time, because I can't even load my photos page. That's how hammered it is right now. So I'll make sure you guys have some links to see what it looks like. But really, it is really simple. It's not a whole lot to write home about. It's just a coffee table on top of a desk. I found one that looks nice. It's a white finish, and it's got these nice polished metal legs. So it doesn't look all that out of place sitting here, as opposed to like some kind of funky piece of oak you found, from the 70s on your top of your desk. It actually looks kind of nice. But all in all, I'm happy with it. One of the secrets, though, is what do you stand on? Obviously you could wear comfortable shoes. You might have really plush carpet. I don't know what you have in your office or studio, but I have hardwood floor. So it was either be in shoes all day, which I hate, or throw something down to stand on. And I was going to get some of those mats that you see in restaurants and things that are behind the workstations, so people have a cushion to stand on, those interlocking things. But then I walked outside, and there was my kind of, torn up old funky boogie board, my body board sitting outside on the patio. And I was like, that's perfect. I threw it down on the floor, and I'm standing on a body board. And it's about 2 inches of nice cushy foam. It's incredibly comfortable, and I'm really happy with it. It's worked out really well for me.
Yeah, well, that's it's. You make some good points there about standing versus sitting and stuff like that. I spend a tremendous amount of time at my desk sitting because I'm editing. I can't really imagine myself editing, if I was standing. However, I record standing up.
Right.
Because as you can see in my booth here, it's designed for me to stand up in there.
Right.
I mean, I have a chair, but I've decided I'm going to stand because it gives me a little bit more energy. But I was going to mention, George, wait till you turn 50.
Right.
Which I understand. The other day you turned another year closer too. So we all have to wish George a happy birthday the other day, folks.
39, yes.
Yeah. Did you get my card?
I did. You're writing the. Oh, it was from the movie. I'm trying to remember the reference. It was Dr. Zhivago. No. Dr. Oh, come on.
All right, wait a second. I'll give the line for Yahoo! Wait, which one? Anyone knows which one it was?
Strangelove.
Yes.
Strangelove. Thank you. I can't believe I forgot that. No, it's awesome. It was one of those jib jab. Dan sent me one of those jib jab cards where his face is on the character, and hilarious. Thanks for that card, by the way. It was funny.
You're welcome. Yeah. But anyway, it's important, I think, to keep your legs moving and stuff. And I was actually threatening to do the show standing up tonight. But I was walking around Niagara Falls all day today. The wife and the kids and I said, let's go do stuff at Niagara Falls we've never done before.
Oh, wow.
I've only lived here 55 years, and I have never done the cable car over the whirlpool.
Oh, okay.
And my wife had never seen the big power project there. People who live in Southern Ontario and in Western New York know what I'm talking about.
Right.
When you go to Niagara Falls, go do the cable car and go do the power project on the American side. Third largest hydroelectric project in the world.
It must be mind blowing.
It's huge.
Actually, I got the shot up here. Let me drag it over your shot, and I'm going to move it onto the main screen, and there it is. Nothing too, magical. Just like I said, but like you said, you can't picture editing or anything. But I got the keyboard up on the very top, and I was going to put a drawer underneath, like my old desk setup. There's a keyboard drawer at the very bottom that slides out. But honestly, my hands are actually slightly higher than my elbows in this position, and it's very comfortable, like ergonomically on my wrists and my hand positions. And as you can see, I'm using an ancient Microsoft Natural Pro keyboard that's like at least 12 years old. But I love the way my hands are, the way it splays your wrists out a little bit. And I'm using the new Microsoft, they call it the Magic Mouse, right? And I just started trying that, and I do actually like that. I was not a big fan of wireless anything in a booth, in a studio, but it really is a great mouse for Mac users, the way the gestures and everything work on it. I love it.
I love my Magic Mouse.
But anyway, that's it. That's the standing desk. Now you guys can see what I'm standing at right now.
Ta-da!
Ta-da!
Very cool. All righty. Well, now you can get a standing desk. You could, of course, what we used to do in college, you just put like cinder blocks underneath it and just raised it up. So
I thought about that. I was thinking of putting 2x4s for making my own legs and all this stuff.
Lot cheaper.
But
anyway,
we've
got lots more coming up tonight here at East West Audio Body Shop. We've got our special guest, Eric Smith, who's the president of Auralex. We've got my tip of the week coming up, and we've got a couple problems that we've gotten a lot of email lately. Some weird stuff. I had one of those turned around mic things this week. I love getting those.
Those are awesome.
But there's a reason for that. We'll talk about it. But I've got my tip of the week coming up, and we have a special guest George already told us about, and announcements. So we'll be right back here on East West Audio Body Shop. Do not go away.
And now back to the only webcast done with 2 cans, 2 geeks, and a string. East West Audio Body Shop, with George Whittam on his end in the West and Dan Leonard in the East.
Right. Pull the string a little bit tighter. Good. Good.
It's nice and tight now.
Nice and tight. Okay. Well, it's like I said, it's been a weird week, and my voice is finally starting to come back. And if you go into the forums, it's like, what do you do when you have a cold? Well, I've been out of business for 2 weeks. I mean, aside from the fact that, we had the situation with my father-in-law passed away a couple of weeks ago. And thank you everybody for all your wonderful wishes and to Marcy, because it was a kind of a rough weekend, and it was not a week I was planning on spending in Florida.
Yeah.
But everybody who I saw at FAFCon, you guys were great, and I really appreciate that. And FAFCon was a lot of fun. Of course, I did tell you about the dinner I had with Bob Sauer and those guys in Mertz's soul food restaurant. With the fried chicken and the collard greens, and which I called collard greens. And then they're all like, "Yeah, he's from the north."
Your skin turned 2 shades paler.
Yeah. And then It was kind of weird. And then, of course, I had to be nasty and go, do you have a gluten-free menu? Anyway. But it's that time of the show. You got that racked up?
Oh, yeah, actually, let me address one question that was kind of
go for it.
Trailing on from the previous segment before we do that. Somebody asked, it was Devox, said, now that you're standing, what happens if you really have to sit? And that's a good question. Well, I would say the first thing that would come to mind would be to just simply get a stool. And I'm working on getting a couple of nice, large, tall bar stools, that are comfortable enough that if you had to sit at them for a while, you could. Now, if you had trouble getting up and onto a bar stool, that might be a whole nother story. Looks like Dan's stool is actually physically connected to the booth. He's not bringing that out of there.
Nor that.
Yeah, but if you're trying to work sitting because you have to work sitting, obviously, logistically you'd have some trouble. This whole setup didn't take me more than about 45 minutes to convert over. So with somebody else helping you, moving things and taking the desk out and converting over, you could certainly do that. The other alternative I've heard of some people say that they do is sort of having an up and down desk. So they don't use something as big as this. They'll have something that's just half the desk is standing height, half the desk is sitting height. If you want to spend some real money, you can get an electrically lift operated desk, which literally for about $2,000, I think these things are, the whole desk lifts on an electric drive. So it'll sit at standing, or it'll be at sitting or standing height or anywhere in between with a push of a button. So you can find them. They're online. So there are all different alternatives out there for you that give you the most flexibility. Bill Ratner is the king of ergonomics. He's got an electrical lift platform that his monitor and mount and everything is on, and then he can raise it up and down. And
Paul has that adjustable European seat that he has.
Yeah, I think Bill's got one similar to that too. It'll sit or stand or lean or anywhere in between. So
that's right.
You got to be creative.
That's right. Anyway, it's that time of the show.
It's now time for announcements.
Yes.
We're still waiting for you guys to come up with something better. If any of you guys in Utah want to ask the Mormon Tabernacle Choir to go do that one, that would be helpful. Anyway, one of the first things we want to talk about is these guys. Oh, look how shiny and new they are. Do we have any left?
Yeah, I think we've got 5 left in our group buy.
5 left. So if you want an original, these are going to be collector's items. These are the original EWABS popper stoppers or pop screens.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if I go Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers, I can go Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers. You'll notice that it works really well.
It's less poppy.
Right. And also comes with the strap. You can actually use it for tefillin. Now, a couple of people there were just laughing. The rest of you are going, what? Never mind. But it works perfectly with, it was designed for the Epigee mic.
Strap it on there, baby.
There's a little rubber foot on it, and you wrap it around here like an ace bandage.
Mm-hmm. Pull that strap real tight.
But you put the strap real tight, and you have a pop stop that works with your, and it's even got this little hole in here. So you can see the little level meter LED in there.
Yeah, the little indicator is visible through that window.
That's right. And it says
EWABS. Yes, sir.
So how much are those and where can I get them?
Well, they're at EWABS.com. There's a link right on the front page, on the shop page. And they are $40 with shipping and handling to the great North America. And if you're outside of North America, let us know and we will figure out a way to get them to you. And they weigh less than an ounce. So sending them by airmail in a padded envelope or something is not a big deal. So
use a paper airplane, for crying out loud. It'll get there.
They weigh almost nothing. And we need to get some pictures of those, Dan. Put that thing on there one of these days and take a couple shots, because I still have the picture I have is of it strapped to an MXL mic instead of the Apogee. So
well,
I got to show people what it really looks like. I just don't have an Apogee mic because I never had anything to plug it into.
Okay, well, I'll cut a few auditions with it this week and have actual pictures of me actually using it.
There you go. That'd be sweet.
Yeah. And also on our announcement schedule, we have memberships. Tell them about them, George.
Oh, yes, we do. We now have our membership program online. We call it our eSupport membership. And I think a lot of people wonder, what the heck can you do with an eSupport membership? Why is it worth this kind of money? We're charging $75 a month, and or you can pay full year up front and get 2 months of that year for free. So that'd be, do the math, that's $750. And so what are you getting? Well, first of all, you're supporting the show in a really large way, and that's obviously extremely important to keep the show going. But moreover, it's really for you guys to continue getting support that you need on a more personal basis, one-on-one from Dan and or I. And Dan and I have never done anything besides the show. We haven't done anything like this jointly where we've offered a service together. So this is pretty cool. It's one of those things where if Dan hasn't tried it, I probably have, and vice versa. So between the two of us, I think we have a massive amount of knowledge between us. What if you did the math, Dan? Would you say we'd have 60 years of combined experience or something like that? 50 maybe?
Yeah, something like that. And that's expertise in sound, but we probably have more combined experience with home voiceover studios.
Yeah, specifically. So, yeah, exactly.
That's the most important
thing.
So
like one of the unique things we can do is obviously besides just answer questions is we can do things like create a customized audio processing setup for you. So you can tell us what software you're using. You send us a sample. We'll send you back the exact instructions. It might be a video tutorial, whatever it is. And we'll send it back to you with instructions on how to reproduce the sound that we created for you. That's one really cool thing you can do. We can create diagrams. Say you say, well, I've got all this gear and I want to make sure it's hooked up right. We can create a little diagram on the computer, send it off to you, and boom, you see exactly how to plug everything in. So
plus, we have a special members page at the EWABS website.
We do.
We're going to present all sorts of cool stuff, like all my tips of the week.
Mm-hmm.
They make a great Christmas gift.
We're going to have the tips of the week on there. We're going to have other content we've never aired on the show, exclusive content, maybe some webinars, tutorials, all sorts of stuff. So I hope you guys can join in and help support the show. And we'd love to have your thoughts on it too. If you have any ideas on how we could make this thing better, certainly drop us a line at ewabshop@gmail.com and let us know how it could be better. We're here for you guys.
Right. And one other quick thing, doing a seminar in Toronto next Sunday.
Oh, cool.
Pat, we sold out yet? Let's see if he says anything. I'm doing one with Elley-Ray Hennessy.
Nice.
She's going to be there Saturday and Sunday. I'm going to be there on Sunday. And we're going to talk about home studios and working with...
2 seats left.
2 seats left. All
wow,
right. So if you're up in Toronto... It's there, or Southern Michigan or
Buffalo,
one of those places, Kitchener or Waterloo. You can go over there.
Excellent.
Also, we're doing a Google Hangout next week, correct?
Yeah, we are. We're going to do Google Hangout. Mm-hmm. And if you want to be on what are you going to be doing?
Well, I'm going to be leaving Toronto and driving back to Buffalo, which is less than 2 hours, depending on how many cars are at the Lewiston-Queenston Bridge going back into the United States. But I'll be here. I'll eventually be here.
Cool.
Well, and if not, it's a hangout.
I'll run the hangout, and I think what we'll do this time is if you want to be in the hangout, send us a question or topic that you'd like to have covered during the show, and we'll include you in. We'll those whose questions or topics we like, we'll invite you into the Hangout. That way we'll have plenty of things to talk about. So we spend a minimal of time kind of staring at each other.
That's right.
So,
all right. Well,
I guess we should move along here.
We should. And it's now time for the next item on our agenda tonight. And it's my tip of the week. Not a long one. Take the cynicism and sarcasm in stride. But I'm actually kind of serious about this. So roll the tip of the week.
All right, here we go.
When I cut my first spot in a professional studio in 1979, I remember the producer talking to the client over a phone patch and playing for him or her the finished spot. Now, a phone patch is a device that takes your line-out audio and steps it down to a compression that a regular phone can handle without too much loss in quality. Every time I hear the term phone patch today, all I can think about is the cast from Mad Men sitting around a speakerphone listening to a read of an old Gold's ad. It's old, outdated technology. Yet some diehards still cling to it. I get these panicked emails and calls from people saying a new client wants them to use a phone patch, and they have no idea how to get one or set one up. This falls under Dan's list of things you have no need for. And ad execs who think you should use it for them simply don't get the reality of modern technology. Oh, sure, you can go out and get a phone patch hybrid device for about $300. But why bother? First off, don't confuse a phone patch with ISDN. ISDN is strictly for allowing you to record remotely at almost full fidelity to another studio, and so they can talk to you. It's not cheap, as I'm sure some of you now know. A phone patch is technology designed to patch ham radios for long-distance phone calls. Pretty useful. During the Korean War, maybe. If a client asks you for a phone patch to listen to your recording session, suggest to them some alternative, like Skype. They can actually watch you and listen to you and talk to you over a digital connection. And they can do it all on their laptop. Duh! It's not hard to do, and with a simple mixer, you can reroute the audio back into your Skype input. If you want, George and I can show you how. But if you really want to simplify things, try this. Yeah, it's this simple. Okay, you ready to go? Okay. Dan Leonard, take one. And that's my tip of the week. But that's the way I feel about it. I mean, I hear this. Somebody wants a phone patch. What are you talking about? It's like, who needs a phone patch? They want to hear it played back. Go hold the phone up to the speaker for him, for crying out loud.
It's true. It's true.
I'm
always coming up with the high-tech version of that. Well, I want to get Eric's thoughts on that, because Eric Smith, who's from Auralex, who's going to be on here in a second, has been in radio for years. So you can guarantee he has used quite a few of these. So what do you say? Should we bring him in here after a little break?
After our break, yes. Well, we're planning on doing that anyway.
Awesome.
We've got Eric Smith, president, founder of Auralex, coming up. So you stay right where you are, and we'll be right back here on East West Audio Body Shop.
VO Studio Tech. Recording made simple.
Hi, I'm Peter McHugh.
This is Jim Tasker from Los Angeles, California.
Hi, this is Bill Ratner in Los Angeles.
Hi, this is Scott Rummel here in Yorba Linda, California.
Hi, my name is Rick Wasserman.
Hi, this is Tom Kane.
Hi, my name is Vanessa Marshall.
Hi, my name is Zurich.
Hi, I'm Mary McKittrick.
Randy Thomas chiming in.
Hi, this is Joe Szymanski.
Hey, this is Rick Robles.
Hi, my name is John Patrick Armstrong.
I was turned on to George by none other than Don LaFontaine, who always swore by his health.
George is absolutely awesome.
ISDN, Source Connect, Phone Patch, FTP, you name it, George has set it up.
It's really the best thing I've ever done for myself. I feel free, safe, fearless, like anything is possible in here.
Unless you like to look for opportunities to waste time, call George.
And he did all of that, long distance over the phone and the internet.
I'm very happy with George, and I cherish him.
Thanks, George. You make it easy.
And now back to East West Audio Body Shop, where every week it's Apollo 13.
Yes, indeed. Well, this week more than others, I can see a trail of fuel dragging behind us at 250,000 miles an hour. Anyway, we have our guest with us tonight. Welcome to East West Audio Body Shop, Eric Smith, the president and founder of Auralex. We're not worthy. Welcome. How you doing tonight?
You're plenty worthy. I'm great. How you doing?
Very good. Very good.
Good to see you.
Blurry there, but well, you make a product that is absolutely essential to those of us with home voiceover studios and people who have big professional studios where they have nice big comfy chairs and big glass windows and lots of guitars hanging from the wall and stuff, or that they have a closet. Because as you can see on the door to mine, what's on the door to my studio but Auralex?
Looks like studio foam to me.
Yeah. Yep. How did you get into the Auralex business? Because I understand you were in the computer business and you were in radio. How'd you get in there?
I've done all kinds of stuff. Yeah, most people don't know the story, and we won't take time tonight, but I've done a lot of things. And I got into it because I was a nightclub disc jockey. I was a mobile disc jockey. I entertained the Rolling Stones one time at a private party. I was an air personality from a very young age. At about age 17 and a half, I got into radio. And I was working for rich guys who were driving Jaguars, but they told me they couldn't afford to treat the studios. So, you pot the mic open to give away concert tickets or something, and you hear a gymnasium. Jeez. And I thought, well, if these rich guys say they can't afford it, then somebody's got to do something about it.
No doubt. Let me reconnect with you, Eric. Right now, your picture is about 10 seconds behind your audio.
And we're completely frozen.
Yeah. Show us some love, Skype. Come on, baby. Group chat is not available. Isn't that nice? We may have to bring Eric in just by telephone or have him turn off his video. Anybody who's watching now, sorry about the technical difficulties. It's sort of the nature of the game with Skype. Anytime you're using software where it's literally a free service, they only can give you so much support, or at least, confirmation that the system is going to work without fail. So there's not a lot of, motivation to make the system reliable when it's free. Although it tends to be. Look how many episodes we've done. This is episode 69. And, we've gotten this far with very few major failures. So I can't be all that frustrated with Skype. All right, we got Dan back and Eric.
I'm back.
Eric should be back in a second. I dropped in. I quit Skype. You guys there now?
I'm here.
I'm here.
Okay, great. I quit Skype and I restarted it. So hopefully that'll make a difference.
All right.
No guarantees.
This reminds me of being in radio one time. I was hosting, I was a talk show host in addition to being an air personality.
Yeah.
And I was hosting a calling talk show on the radio one time. And the owner of the station preferred not to spend the money on a digital delay. And so we had rigged up a couple of MCI JH110 2-tracks, which George and Dan probably both know well.
Oh, yeah.
And I had them about 20 feet apart, and one in a hallway, one in a production studio. There was a big loop of Ampix 456.
Wow.
Except the split. And for the monitor, as opposed to the calling thing, I was monitoring the air signal. I took a phone call. I said, okay, we're going to go to line number 3. And it was this little girl, and she said, hey, you've been off the air for the last minute and a half.
Oh, no.
It was horrible.
Well, do us a favor and kill your video feed and just give us audio, Eric, and let's see if we can get this thing to be a little more solid, because it's definitely not being happy.
All right.
So far, immediately you sound better, so maybe we'll do that for a while.
Well, I guess I did for radio.
If you want to show us anything on camera, just let us know.
Yeah.
That's all right.
Anyway, we were talking. Now, how did you get into making foam?
Well, there was really only one brand. I won't mention it by name here, but there was really only one brand of acoustical treatment on the market back when we all some of us got into broadcast. And it had detriments, I thought, and a lot of people thought, not the least of which was price and product integrity over the long haul. So I'm working for these rich guys. They said they couldn't afford it. I knew the product had a lack of certain attributes that I thought the world needed, and I decided to get into it. And there's more to the story, but we won't share that on the show right now. But, you know, I didn't even take chemistry in high school. My wife's a chemist. You know, I'm not. I didn't take chemistry in high school or college. So I just set out to learn as much as I needed to and found the right people with whom to work. And 36 years ago, here we are.
Wow. I know what the product you're talking about is, because I've seen that product, probably what it looks like 10 to 20 years later, and how much of an incredible mess it makes. It
gets very moldy and very moldy, very crumbly, you know. And when I do my lectures, I do a lot of lecturing. I did 18 and a half hours of lectures last week. So I do a lot of that. But I've got an actual sample of that product, which I have in a Tupperware container, and I pass it around among people attending the lectures, which has been many, many thousands. And I encourage them not to take the top off the Tupperware container. But anyway, I've got a piece of Auralex studio film, circa, I don't know, mid-80s, 85, 86, around the same age as the sample in the Tupperware, and I pass it around too. So the studio film doesn't have to be in a Tupperware container because it looks just as good as the day it was new.
Wow.
Yep, truly.
Yep. You guys have been innovating on, you know, using, you know, more green materials. What kind of things have you changed about the acoustic foam? Because, you know, foam was not always my favorite because it can tend to be a little bit stinky. It might off gas. And, you know, what do you do with it when it's out, you know, when you no longer need it?
Right. Well, first of all, in the production process, we regrind all of our acoustical foam that we cut off. And it goes back through the production process and becomes carpet pad, frankly. So it's, you know, I won't say that acoustical foam production is a green process because we all know it's petroleum based.
Right.
But we do everything we can. One of the big things we've done and been doing this for years, which many of the viewers tonight online may not know, is that we've replaced a lot of the components of our acoustical foam formula, which is ours and ours alone, with soy. And it's much more eco-friendly. So in addition to that, we grind up the excess and repurpose it. We have a variety of other substrates. We have recycled newspaper. We have recycled HDPE, which people would call jug number 2 recycling product. We actually have an acoustic absorber called Ecotech, which is made out of recycled milk jugs. We do a lot of bamboo products, and that production process does not generate any waste.
Skype is not being our friends right now, Eric. I'm really sorry. I'm going to make one more last-ditch attempt at making this work. I'll be calling you back in just a second. And reminds me of a certain episode with Harlan Hogan. But this isn't Mother's Day, so I don't know what's going on with Skype tonight. But of course, we had a beautiful test before the show started with no problems. So let's see what happens this time. Calling him back in. I'm going to blame it on Windows. Eric's on Windows and we're on Mac. I'm going to blame it on Windows.
Windows, absolutely.
So far, so good.
Okay.
Yeah, so pick up, you were talking about why you integrated soy into the design.
Yeah. What I was saying, I think when you asked me was we do a wide variety of bamboo products, and the process generates no waste. We use every single scrap of the product is cut off, and it is actually utilized to carbonize the bamboo. And so that's a very green production process. You know, bamboo can grow 6 feet a day. So, you know, we do what we can as a company. We recycle every single thing out of the office that we can. We hardly, for a company, hardly throw anything away. So we're proud of everything. Everything we do to be green. We do what we can. You know?
Yeah. That's exactly all we can expect, you know? I mean, that's really... It is a difficult situation. You can't make a product that conforms to that shape and style, you know, yet that's absolutely completely green, but that's a big step in the right direction.
Yeah, we do what we can, you know. Certain things are part and parcel of the product.
Sure.
You know, I'll change those, but we do every single thing we can. I mean, We don't throw away cardboard. We don't throw away cans, no paper, no glass, no plastic, Recycle everything we can. And by the way, I'm looking at Dan on screen. You guys can't see me, but I can see Dan. And I think Frank and Mike look great. But it occurs to me that, with the hair piece on top there, we might have to call it Saul Rosenberg. If anybody knows that joke. Okay, we won't go there right now.
All right. Well, Skype is being horrendously bad, and we're getting 80% of what you're saying, but I really would rather get 100%. So here's what we're going to do. I'm going to hang up on you, and if you'll just instant message me your the best phone number to call you in on, and I will dial you in right now, Eric.
Okay.
Just send it on instant messenger in the Skype window, and I will call you right back. All right, so we'll get Eric back in.
Okay, well, I'm still here. But yeah, now we've got some other stuff we want to talk to him. He's got some great points on home studio stuff that I want to talk about. And we'll see if we get him in here in a second. You guys are very patient, Of course, this sort of goes in the face of what I was talking about with Skype, a couple of minutes ago. But
I know. It generally is extremely reliable for something that is, like I said, free. We do pay for the premium system so that we can do multi video chat like we've been trying to do with our guests. But
it's not happening with this one. But
yeah,
it may be the interface between Mac and PC, and he doesn't have the latest version of Skype either. So
that is possible. That is possible. Let's see here. Let's take a second here to get him back in the show. So what I'm going to do, Dan, is again, I'm going to hang up on you to improve the quality because your quality doesn't get any better after he hangs up. So,
well, geez,
let's do that. I'll be right back. Oh man. There is his phone number. We'll call him right now. And proof that this show is completely live, folks. Calling in Eric right now. Hello, sir. It's George.
Anybody there?
Yes, Eric. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, excellent. We're going to go old-fashioned, just as we got done talking about how we don't like foam patches. But this is the modern-day equivalent of a foam patch, and it works pretty darn well.
Well, the funny thing is that I could see and hear you guys no problem whatsoever. No skipping, no stuttering, nothing.
Isn't that funny?
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, Skype is doing some pretty amazing stuff behind the scenes in order to mix all of these different feeds together and then send each of us a mix minus. With the right picture and the audio. It is pretty amazing when it works at all. Yeah. But we'll stick with the phone patch.
Can you hear me, Eric?
Yes, I can, Dan. Good to see you again.
Okay, nice to see you. Well, at least your picture anyway. We at least get to know what this guy looks like.
Yeah.
Let's talk a little bit about some of your ideas about home studios, because that's specifically what we're about. Because one of the things you talk about is your mic versus your ears. What do you mean by that?
Well, I mean that a lot of people fixate. First of all, people listen with their eyes. They see pretty pictures in a magazine, and they think that that's their preconceived notion of what a studio must look like. And I know you, Dan, specifically are into guerrilla audio and all about the audio quality. It doesn't necessarily matter in your world nor in mine what it looks like. None of us wants to look in an ugly room, but I think the basic premise for which we're all in our studios is to go for pristine audio quality. And it doesn't really matter how you accomplish that. So when I talk about the mic versus your ears, what I'm specifically referring to is that a lot of people worry too much about what the room sounds like to them, when in fact to the microphone it may sound perfect. There are times when a person's ears will hear anomalies in a room, especially a small booth like an ISO booth or a closet or a poorly done studio. And, the microphone may say, it ain't perfect, but it's okay. I'm pretty happy. And so I care more about what the microphone hears than I do what the person hears.
Right.
And this not only applies to voiceover stuff, but also the studios that I deal with on a daily basis for Grammy winners and everybody else.
Right.
You don't design it for what you hear in the room. It matters what the mics on the drum kit hear, et cetera.
Yeah, we talk about that a lot here on the show too. That people, they only hear, you'll be in your booth and you hear certain things, but your mic is probably more sensitive in your ears, especially if you're over age 55. The microphones, especially really good microphones like your Neumanns and your Sennheisers, very, very sensitive. They're going to hear your washing machine or your refrigerator where you normally can't because your brain blocks it out.
Well, it works both ways, as you just illustrated. There are times when the microphone is perfectly happy with a room which to your human ears, perhaps untrained ears, may sound pretty off. And there are other times, as you just said, where the microphone is going to hear all kinds of things that your ears aren't going to hear.
Yeah, absolutely. That's one thing that's made. Oh, I'm sorry, go Dan. I think you had a thought to finish there.
Yeah, no, I just wanted to move on to something else, and I think it's maybe some of the misconceptions about Auralex and sound dampening material.
Okay,
is that we talk about isolation. If you're creating a booth like mine here, you want to isolate yourself. But Auralex in itself is not a soundproofing material, at least not the foam that we're talking about. You do make sound isolating products, though.
Oh, we have a ton of sound isolating products, and I wrote a booklet, and it's a website as well called Acoustics 101 or acoustics101.com.
Nice,
which is a freebie. And
I've read
it's
it.
all about the right way to build a studio and stuff. But yeah, we have a wide variety of sound isolating products. I mean, we can stop any noise from, trains, trucks, airplanes, you name it. That's not an issue. But a lot of people have a misconception about our core products, which, be they acoustical foam, our registered trademark being studio foam, or our cloth-covered fiberglass panels, or the eco-friendly products that are, recycled materials and other things. People mistakenly think that those are going to, quote-unquote, soundproof their room.
Oh boy!
And unfortunately, they just don't do that.
Soundproof foam. I hear that term, and I just makes me cringe.
Yeah. Now, the good news is that there's a wide variety of products out there that will very, very well, if properly implemented, and utilizing conventional construction techniques that we are very picky about. We'll do a great job of building a soundproof booth or room. But we recently applied for a patent on a product that I think is worthy of mentioning here briefly, and that is that for people who've already got a booth and it is not soundproof, and they mistakenly built it or they treated it incorrectly and they were hoping for soundproofing but they didn't get it, we recently applied for a patent on a product that's only 1/8 of an inch thick. And you don't have to tear your walls down, you don't have to do any sanding, you don't have to do any real mess. And you can install this product right over the top of whatever you've already built and get almost another 29 decibels of sound reduction.
Holy cow.
Yeah, and it's paintable. This is why we applied for a patent on it. I've been trying to bring this product to market for over 15 years, and we finally were able to do it. But it's paintable. We developed a custom coating, and then after you put our custom base coat on there, you can coat it with any latex paint, any color, any brand. And so we're pretty excited about it, and the market is really receiving it well. It's a laser-cut product, so you can just put it up like wallpaper, and it's extraordinarily effective and very thin.
So you say you put up like wallpaper, so it's actually a flexible product?
Absolutely.
Wow. Is it like, I would imagine it's quite heavy, right? Like how many pounds per square foot is this stuff, you think?
It weighs about 1.1 pound per square foot, so it's not light, but it's also not so god-awful heavy that you just,
like lead.
A normal human can't do it. It's not that bad.
Yeah, like I've heard of people sheeting a wall with lead. Not recommended.
No, but it will keep you safe from radiation.
Yeah, this product is obviously safer to be around, and, it at certain frequencies at least, it's more effective than solid lead, so why do that,
Really? We've got a couple questions from our voluminous audience here. Our good friend Paul was wondering about you're expanding globally. You're not just here in America and Canada, but you're expanding out to lots of other markets.
Yeah, well, we've been a multinational company for a long time. People may not know that about us, but I have a staff in many production facilities and an office in China. We have a facility and a staff in Barcelona, Spain. We are bringing online a facility in northern Mexico. I'm about to bring online a facility, at least as I speak right now. The intent is to bring a facility online in Brazil. And we are a legal operating entity in a variety of countries around the world. So, we're 36 years old, and we're multinational, and yeah, we're growing by leaps and bounds. And one of the things that a lot of people don't know is that we've been working very hard behind the scenes. I can't tell everybody everything that's going on right now, but I can tell everybody that it is now able to be talked about publicly, and that is that our products are just now beginning to go live. There's a lot of web coding and images and video uploads and all kinds of stuff yet to do. But our products, select products at least, are just now going live on HomeDepot.com.
No kidding.
Wow.
There are many, many more announcements we'll be making in the coming 3 or 4 months. And we will be adding probably more than 20,000 brick-and-mortar dealers for Auralex products around the world.
Whoa.
So it's a very exciting time for Auralex Acoustics right now. And it feels really good because this was my vision from day one.
This will make it truly consumer-friendly.
Yeah, we're going to be a ubiquitous brand in a variety of markets where people don't always associate the Auralex brand. And so, as I say, and this is one of our trademarks we use in our marketing, bad sound is everywhere. And so why limit yourself to just home studio or recording studio, commercial studio or broadcast or whatever? There's a lot of opportunity out there, and we are attacking those very strongly, and I look forward to being able to talk about them openly.
Yeah. Now, here's a great question, and this is one that everybody, I think anybody that's ever used Auralex talks about. If you're using the wedge pattern, not the pyramidal, do you put them in opposite directions in panels, or do you run them all the same direction?
Well, this could launch us into a very technical discussion I don't think we want to get into. We can talk about axial, tangential, and oblique modes. We can talk about the directionality of the sound source. We can talk about the different types of physics that comes into play here with regard to sound propagation in an enclosed space. Bottom line, it doesn't matter a lot, but I tend to think that whichever direction the sound source is coming from, the sound should not travel down the valleys of the wedges or the other, there are a couple of other cuts of ours which have distinct valleys. I'm in a room right now, as you guys may have seen when I was on the video, with a product I'm very proud of called the Auralex Metro. And I would encourage people that if the loudspeakers are at one end of the room or the microphone, I would not allow the sound to shoot down the valleys. That's what I'm saying. I would make the valleys perpendicular to the travel length of the travel direction of the sound source.
That makes total sense.
Mm-hmm.
Excellent.
Well, one thing I love about Auralex's website too is I love the design ruminator thing you guys, or the service you guys provide for helping people, place product in their room, and I think that's just a huge, huge resource. Do you guys have any plans on expanding that anyway?
Yeah, 2 things. First of all, we're about to unveil an entire new website. I have unfortunately spent a boatload of money and nobody sees it yet, but they will soon. It's to support Home Depot, and we signed a worldwide contract with Amazon for them to distribute our products much more broadly. And so anyway, there's a lot of stuff going on behind the scenes right now. But yeah, the Ruminators kits are very well received, and if anybody wants to keep an ear to the ground, you'll be seeing a lot more Ruminators kits, and they will not just be Auralex studio foam and diffusers and other things. Our full line of cloth-covered beveled edge and square edge panels, the Pro panels.
Oh, nice. I love those.
We will have Ruminators kits made out of Pro panels and bass traps and other things here, and bamboo and other things very shortly.
Awesome.
But yeah, we got grand designs right now. It's an exciting time. It's a lot of work, and I'm not getting a lot of sleep, but it's fun.
Oh.
Yeah. Now, there's a couple of things you say here, and some of the things that we want to talk about when it comes to, studio booths and their acoustics, because this is really what most people are concerned about in our audience. And you say diffusion has no place in voiceover. What do you mean by that?
Well, this launches into basically how I start my lecture. My lecture tends to run about 3.5 hours. And I talk about the difference between sonic production and sonic reproduction. And diffusion, let's be clear, no one's room has a diffusion deficiency. Now, understand that Auralex makes, in my and many other people's opinions, the world's best performing diffuser based on very fastidious testing. But I am not a fan of diffusion in a voiceover studio because earlier, I mentioned that when I was young and got into radio, I was working for rich guys and I couldn't afford to treat the studio. She'd pop the mic over to scream over an intro or give away concert tickets or whatever, and all you heard was a room. And I think it makes a human voice sound very small. It doesn't make a voice sound large when you add reverb or room tone. I think it actually detracts from the impact of the human voice. And so I am not a fan of diffusion in control rooms in general, in recording studios. They're fine for the tracking room where the drums and everybody else would be. But I'm not a fan of them in voiceover studios at all because I think we want a very present, very intimate, very tight sound that is only the sound of the human voice and nothing else. And to me, that means broadband absorption, not just whether it's Auralex or any other brand, not just mid-high absorption, but also bass trapping. That's what I mean when I say broadband. And people talk about a room, they go into a room and they say, ooh, this room sounds too dead, or ooh, this room is boomy. Well, what they're really saying in a way that they don't know how to express truly technically what's going on, what they're saying or what they're experiencing is that the room is not broadband absorbed. And that means it's just mid-high absorbed. It's not bass trapped. And so when we do rooms, what I do daily, what I spend most of my time on is I deal with a lot of Grammy winners and the largest Auralex clients around the world. So I primarily innovate, I primarily lecture, and I primarily help, the cream of the crop of our clients. And you'd be amazed at the number of these people, even people, who are very, very famous, who don't understand what bass trapping, how important bass trapping is. Bass trapping is my soapbox. It is the hill I die on acoustically.
Me too, actually.
It is so important, and I'm sure George understands this very well. It is incredibly important to broadband trap a room. Every room needs bass trapping to a much greater degree than people understand. Yeah. And you can never, ever, ever, ever over bass trap a room. The thing people don't get is, and I termed this is kind of a trademark of mine, I termed it the low-frequency paradox about 20 years ago, and that is people come to us and they say, at my mix position or in my voiceover booth, I don't have enough low end. And we say, right, you need bass trapping. And they say, no, you didn't hear me. I told you I don't have enough low end. And we say, right, you need bass trapping. When we remove the room nasties, it allows the low frequencies to properly propagate and come through. And this is something, like I said, this is the hill I die on because I lecture on bass trapping all the time.
Yeah. Go ahead,
now, there's some other things there too. I mean, and there's another product you make that I'm really looking forward. I've sort of built my own, but these things you have called mopads, because people put their monitors on their desk, and it's the same thing as putting a microphone on the desk. It's got to be isolated, doesn't it?
It does, very much so. I mean, it's important to isolate your mic stand, whether it's floor-mounted or whether it stands on a desk or whether you've got one of those clamp on the edge of a desk type of boom arms. Mm-hmm. It's very important to isolate that from the structure, be it the floor, be it the desk, or be it the clamped on the edge thing. Mm-hmm. And the moped does that for loudspeakers. It's, you would be amazed at how inaccurate loudspeakers can sound, studio monitors or hi-fi loudspeakers. You'd be amazed at how inaccurate they sound when they are improperly coupled to the structure. And when people get the opportunity to hear them properly isolated, or what we call floated, their eyes open and they turn to you and they say, "You're kidding." It makes that much of a difference. And, the moped is patented, and we have literally sold millions of mopeds around the world. And it is a phenomenal device. I mean, I just learned the other day, and in fact, when I'm in Southern California, in George's neck of the woods for the NAMM show in January, where I'm lecturing on acoustics, I would encourage anybody who's going to attend the NAMM show to come by and see the lecture. There's a fellow out there with a mastering studio, and he recently remastered Dark Side of the Moon. And he's got these uber expensive monitors he uses, as you might expect. And they're floated on mopeds, which anybody can buy off Amazon or Sweetwater, any of the other dealers, for $39. Yeah, they're that good and they're that inexpensive.
Yeah, they really are pretty impressive for something that seems so innocuous, can make such a huge difference. I was at Don LaFontaine studio, and there were a pair of Genelec, really expensive Genelec 1031s just sitting on a table, and that was one of the first things, I put in there was a couple of mopeds,
Thank you.
You
also, I believe, if I'm recalling what the Mix magazine article said, you utilized a lot of Auralex Pro panels and other stuff in Don's studio, which I really appreciate.
I did, yeah. We used I think the B series or the corner bass trap style ones, and I mounted them from the ceiling to the wall, which is a challenging way to mount them, but it gives you a lot of bang without taking up a lot of space. In his studio, he had no corners, no vertical corners that we could use at all. Everything had something in it, bookshelves or windows or something. So that's where we ended up putting them. And once I figured out how to mount them, it was worked pretty well. And that kind of actually dovetails into a question from one of the fans. For mounting the foam panels to a ceiling, especially if you're a renter, what do you think one of the best techniques for doing that would be?
There are some temporary mounting solutions. We always recommend that you mount the acoustical foam. If we're talking about studio foam here, I would recommend that you mount it to a substrate, and then you mount the substrate to the structure.
Right.
You guys know my good buddy Ed Victor, I'm sure.
Oh yeah,
the big gun.
Ed recently relocated to Southern Cal to try to up the career, and he's in a rented space out there, and we've talked about this very issue, and so he mounted it to a substrate per my guidance, and then mounted the substrate to the structure, and then when it's time to vacate, it's much easier to fill in a couple of small holes and dab them with a little paint, and the landlord probably won't even look there. So I always recommend that you do that. And, the other benefit of mounting the acoustical products, whatever they are, to a substrate and standing is to stand them off of the mounting surface, and that really ups the acoustical game because you get a lot of bonus absorption out of it.
Right.
And so we recommend that all the time. Get it at least an inch away from the wall or the ceiling, and you're going to be much happier. You're going to get a lot of more, or I guess less, bang for your buck.
Right. Yeah, you get
Good point.
The NRC goes up, and and just to some of you guys saying substrate, just to demystify the term, he's just talking about a layer of material you can attach the foam to, and then to attach that to your ceiling. I've literally used the cardboard box that the Auralex comes in. I have used sheets of pegboard. You name it.
My favorite is trifold science fair cards.
Oh yeah,
sure.
Those are great. Those are 4x3, so they're perfect for a sheet of Auralex.
Mm-hmm.
There you go. Yeah, most of our products are 2x4, so that's a great fit.
Yeah.
We're all about recycling, Dan. I told you that. So yeah, whatever you can repurpose, go ahead.
What's the product that's a 1x1 foot, 2-inch thick? What are those called?
Well, I'm kind of proud of that one. In fact, I used to have T-shirts that had this on there, and I got people wanting to buy the T-shirts to give away as Christmas gifts. I named that project, going back 20-plus years, I named it a wedgie.
Yeah, the wedgies. They're one of my favorites because I love that they're especially when you're working in unusual small spaces. Like, I will often walk into someone's closet, and leave what's in there, but just fill it in where necessary with some absorption. And I'll use those wedgies a lot. And that's one of those products where I literally take the wedgie box, break it down, make flat sections, glue the foam to the cardboard outside the house, bring it in, and tack it up to the wall, And they love it because there's no glue, and if it's a rental, there's no glue on the walls. And I think the wedgie stuff is one of the best bangs for the buck out there.
Yeah, I love that. And if you're not going to do it that way, if our viewers or listeners are not going to mount their acoustical products to a substrate, be it pegboard or cardboard, or there's that stuff called Corex, which is a polypropylene version of cardboard, which we use a lot of. If they're not going to do that and they do want to mount it directly, any of the products directly to the wall, but they don't want to do the glue thing because they don't want to trash the wall and lose their damage deposit, a good thing to do is to just pound some number 4 or number 6 finish nails, which are nails without a head on them, into the wall. And then you can impale the acoustical products right onto the finish nails. They leave a very, very tiny hole.
Right.
And so when it's time to move out, you just hit them with a tiny, tiny little dab of spackle that's barely any bigger than the head of a fountain, not a fountain pen, but a big pen.
Yeah.
And then the landlord doesn't even know what was there, and you can take the product with you, so you save your investment.
Yeah.
I'm big on that.
Paul in the chat room said T-pins.
Yeah, T-pins.
Yeah. T-pins are good, but I'm actually, I didn't tell you guys this, but my studio complex here at Shea Smith, is totally gutted right now and being redone. I've built a drum room and a sound lock and an ISO booth and some other stuff. And so the place that I'm in, which you got to see for about 3 minutes when we started the call, I've got my Auralex Metro, Purple Metro 4-inch, which is one of the products I'm proudest of, and I could riff on for about an hour. But I've got it up with just some number 4 finish nails.
Yeah.
And, it just leaves this tiny little hole that nobody would even see, practically.
Yeah, it's great stuff. And it's great that you're with us tonight, Eric, because you also have Auralex is related to one of our favorite sponsors here, our good mutual friend Harlan Hogan. And you like that segue, George?
Perfect.
Yes. The Porta Booth, the new Porta Booth, is using actual Auralex, and you guys are working together on this, aren't you?
Oh, yeah, very much so. Yeah, Harlan he's a true gentleman. I know a lot of people in recording and in voiceover, and he's one of the gems as far as I'm concerned. I can't say enough good things about Harlan, and it's a real honor for him to be utilizing Auralex products in his booth because, we've all idolized his work. He's so good, and, it was great for him to be recommending Auralex in his books and on his website for years before we even got to know each other. But I've spent time up in the Chicago area with Harlan. He's a wonderful man, and glad to have him as part of the family.
Yep. So go to voiceoveressentials.com where you can get a Porta Booth Pro or a Porta Booth Plus with actual Auralex in it. Exactly. And there, I think we've satisfied our sponsorship agreement.
There you go, Harlan.
Well, what else can Harlan want, guys, when the guest sucks up to him?
Exactly.
Absolutely.
I guess if there was going to be one more question from our chat room, it would be if you've budgeted yourself $500 now and you need to treat a small room or a closet, what do you think the best? Just real quickly, what are the best products from Auralex to apply that $500 budget to?
Well, it depends on whether we're talking about a female or a male voice. If it's a female voice, I would say go with a 2-inch studio foam.
Yeah.
If it's a male voice, I might go a little thicker. I might go 3-inch or 4-inch studio foam. I would definitely try to stand them off the wall, if possible, or to mount them to a substrate, as described a minute ago, and then hang that or stand that off the wall, because that way you get bonus absorption you don't really have to pay for. Definitely, I would think about doing some bass trapping in there, because otherwise it's going to be an imbalanced room, and we don't like that. But as I said, it depends on really whether it's a female and whether it's a high-range or low-range female voice or male voice.
Yeah.
But 2-inch Auralex studio foam and our Leonard bass traps, which are patented and which are a world standard. You can't go wrong in any room. I mean, in a gymnasium perhaps, but you can't go wrong in any common-sized room with those two products.
Yeah, that's the LENRD.
Yes, no relation to Dan Leonard.
No, but it's great finding it when you do a Google search on me.
Yeah, it is. Thank you.
Well, Eric, it's been a super major league pleasure having you on the show tonight. You're just a wealth of information. We're going to have you on again, and we'll get a bit more in-depth discussion about Auralex and home voiceover studios.
I could talk for hours, totally.
So could I, especially as being a broadcaster forever and a voice guy myself. The interesting thing about me is I'm not playing in voiceover so much right now, but having been in broadcast and done voiceover and all the stuff I've done for decades, going back to the late 70s, it kind of puts me in a bit of a unique position to know what you guys who are in the trenches every day, guys and gals, are fighting. And so it's, it feels good, and I kind of live vicariously through all you guys. When I hear voiceover on the Olympics and other certain, very high-profile places that are done in Auralex rooms, it makes me feel really good.
I can imagine.
The actual industry standard.
That's how I feel, too, when I hear a client spot, on NBC or whatever, Fox or whatever, and I go, yeah, that's that room that I slapped together for him. It's like, it feels pretty cool.
Well, I would hardly see you slapped it together, but I know exactly what to do.
Sometimes, it depends, but most of the time, there's some care that goes into it, so.
Right.
Yeah, really.
Have me on again if you want to. We can talk more about this. I love to field people's questions from the chat room and whatever. It's I do this all the time when I lecture, so I'm used to thinking on my feet, and I can make up a story just on a moment's notice.
Maybe we'll do a bonus members-only show. Ooh.
Yeah.
There you go.
Ooh.
I like that idea.
Cool.
Well, guys, I apologize for the Skype trouble we had earlier, but I appreciate you calling in on the landline. And
no apologies necessary. It's all part of the cans and string Apollo 13 philosophy of the show.
All right. Well, thanks for being with us, Eric.
Hey, you're more than welcome. Thanks for the opportunity, and thanks to everybody who's listening and viewing right now. We appreciate the support of our brand over the years.
Excellent. All right. Take care.
Okay. Bye-bye, guys.
Bye-bye.
Eric Smith, president and founder of Auralex, the stuff we all use. Maybe that should be their new tagline.
Not bad. We could work with that.
Yeah, really. Anyway, so
let's go to the break here so we can clear up your audio get it back to full bandwidth the way it should be.
Right.
And because you've sounded like a telephone the entire interview, because Skype is not friendly with phone patches. So.
Apparently not.
So let's dump you and let's go to our last spot, and then we'll bring you back on.
We got a couple things left. Okay.
All right. We'll be right back, everybody.
VoiceOver Extra, the voiceover industry's online news, education, and resource center 24/7. Hundreds, probably thousands of free how-to articles for voiceover success, ranging from home studio to voice acting to business. A free voiceover industry directory, calendar of industry events, resource links, a store, and much more. Bi-monthly webinars on all topics of voiceover, free subscriptions to newsletters, reports, announcements, daily news, and features at voiceoverextra.com.
Et voilà, this is East West Audio Body Shop with Dan Leonard in the East and George Whittam in the West. Merci. Et maintenant, back to the show.
Merci beaucoup. Bonjour.
Threw your curve in there.
Yeah. I know our good friend Paul Strickert is viewing our show tonight, as he loyally does almost every week. Had a little bit of a flood apparently in the magic studio in his basement, but apparently no damage. So are we supposed to have a telethon for you there, Paul, and make sure so the flood of 2012.
Oh man!
I hope everything's good there, but it didn't lose any equipment there.
Thank goodness.
I'm glad to hear that. So we got a couple of things left. We had a couple of interesting questions this week that we wanted to deal with. What were some of those?
Well, I'll cue them up here. Let's see. The first one that came in of interest. Well, we had a little shout out first of all from Talmadge Reagan. She saw you at FAFCon apparently.
Well, we had a great time.
She said, just wanted to say thanks for all you do. Enjoyed seeing Dan at FAFCon. Missed you, George and Roy Okelson. Oh, thanks. I wish I could have been there. Just ordered the pop screen. Awesome. Thank you. And hope you'll be producing it soon. Yes, we will be. If you guys, we've got a few more pre-orders and we will be getting these things ordered this week, I think. It sounds perfect for our needs. Thank you. And for the new Apogee mic that I just purchased. And glad we're in touch. Keep up the good work. Thanks, Talmadge.
Thanks, Talmadge. Lovely lady.
And let's see. Let's go to a question. This one's a real shorty, and it could have a really long answer, but I think we'll make it a short one because it's something we've talked about enough on the show. But this is from Dwayne Hickman. He says, what do you think of the LA610 Mark II for voiceovers? This is a mic preamp.
Yes. Well, they haven't sent me one to test, so I don't know.
Right. Good answer.
Well, you know what we think about preamps in general, but this is like a big tube preamp or something?
It's a tube preamp. I'd say it's one of the more affordable tube preamps. And if you were going to buy a tube preamp, I'd say it's probably the least expensive one I would consider. And of course, don't go by our opinion. You guys, you read the webs, interwebs, you know what people have to say. And these are really good pieces of gear. A lot of voice actors really like them. Do we think you need one? No, we really do not think you need a tube mic preamp to win voiceover gigs. There's no magical fairy dust a tube is going to sprinkle on your audio signal that's going to make you start winning gigs. I'm sorry, it's just not going to happen.
That's not the difference. You don't get it because of your equipment. You get it because you're a good voice actor.
Number one, and first of all, yeah, and most importantly, that it's your voice talent that will win you the gig. It's not the gear. If you get to that stage in your career where you have the budget to start throwing around in gear like that, and you've cleaned up everything else in your signal chain, your microphone technique is flawless, your room acoustics are fantastic, your noise floor is real low, all those things, and you're looking to put some money into an outboard piece of gear just because you got gear-itis or gas. Gear acquisition syndrome, then that's a reason that you could grab one. But other than that, I would say you just don't need it. So
you really don't.
All right, last one.
Last question
from Robert Leach. He sent this question to me personally, and I said, Robert, watch the show. We'll answer it on EWABS, because some of these questions I just would rather more people benefit from the answer, and it ties right into what Dan was talking about earlier about foam patches. He said, I loved your Tara interview, and it looked like you have been doing it for years. Well, thanks. I'm fake it till you make it. That's what my mom says. And Mom, come over here.
Yeah, get your mom in here.
Get over here. He says, what tablet or solid-state netbook would be a great platform for Skype audio and video phone patch usage? iPad does not cut it.
Well, we haven't had a lot of luck with people using iPads when they're talking to us.
Yeah. I think if you're going to use iPad specifically for the Skype thing, but do everything else on your regular computer, like if you only do Skype on the iPad and then do everything else, on your desktop, that's a different story altogether. But I think running an iPad and recording and doing Skype at the same time, I think you're definitely asking for trouble. So I don't know if that was what you're referring to, but he asked for a solid state netbook. Well, there aren't that many solid state netbooks out there. And unfortunately, they're not quite powerful enough, I think, for reliable studio use. So I would say you got to step it up to something more like an Ultrabook. And, that's this new category of laptop computers that is sort of really a take on the MacBook Air. Frankly, I think the best Ultrabook is the MacBook Air. I'm a little partial. I like Mac OS, but if you're looking at something that runs Windows or Mac, then a MacBook Air is going to do that. If you get an Ultrabook, something from HP or Dell or one of the other Asus or whatever, then you're stuck running Windows, Yep. So I think and they're not much cheaper than a MacBook Air. It's not like you're saving a lot of money by buying a solid state hard drive Ultrabook. So get a MacBook Air. Yeah. That's my best suggestion there. So
I totally agree.
Mom,
all right.
Come over here.
Get your mom in here. I mean, my mom's been on a bunch of times, but I think it's time that your mom get on here.
Snuggle up real tight, Mom. Get on the boogie board with me. How's that?
Hi, world out there.
Hello, and welcome to the show once again. We've had you on a couple of Mother's Days.
My son's pretty awesome, guys. Don't you think?
Yeah, we think so.
I think you're biased.
Only slightly. And my husband is most awesome. Yes. I must say.
George Sr., who is a regular member of the chat room, who's probably in there right now and
he is
laughing hysterically at Mom.
No. The vacation has been A+++, just fantastic. It's my third day here today. And I have 3.5 more days to go.
What have we done so far? What do we do today?
We had a blast on the beach today with Ella, George, and myself.
She is the queen of the beach, by the way.
Oh, God. And George is really good with his kite, too, flying his kite.
I was flying my stunt kite today. Yeah. We had some good steady winds and keeps Ella entertained. She hangs onto the streamer. It's got like a 50-foot long streamer, and Ella will hang onto it and try to catch it. It's really fun.
Hi, George. Back home. Pennsylvania 65000. Hi, Steve, too, if Steve's there.
Steve's in the chat room. He's
Trumpet Man, where are you?
Steve Whittam?
Trumpet Guy 99. There's Dad. I saw Steve somewhere in there a little earlier.
Hi, Dan. Hi, Dan.
Ooh. Wow, you get up on that mic and look out.
I realized I forgot you, Dan.
Yeah, it happens. They sometimes refer to me as Mr. Cellophane.
Cellophane?
Invisible?
Yes, well,
you
I'm there. You can hear me crinkling, but you can see right through me.
Folks, since I'm here, I got to show you my swag. Swag?
Oh, look at that.
Swag.
Is that it? The shirt? The shirt already?
Oh.
My mom
outstanding.
You bought this spaghetti strap shirt that I never thought anybody would buy. That's awesome.
All right, Mom.
And put it out to the world too.
Yeah, well done.
Ella's here.
She's been wearing it proudly. She's been wearing it on the beach and wearing it around town. I love it. My dad just said, "Hey, Scooty, come home to cook." Oh, now we got Ella.
Oh, just a minute.
Oh, let's get your pineapple.
Dan, say hi to Dan.
Hi, Dan.
Hi, Ella, you little sweetie. We love seeing all the pictures and video of you.
What did you do today?
We were playing with Ellie.
With Ellie, her
your
friend.
Neighbor.
We swam in the ocean just a little. And the ocean is quite warm. I was really surprised.
It's unbelievable. And it's the middle of October. I'm like, let's go to the beach. And my mom's like, I didn't even bring a bathing suit. And I said, well, I'm sorry I didn't prepare you, but it's beautiful. The ocean is actually a really nice temperature right now. I was out there and I was enjoying it. But, well, thanks for coming on, you guys, and making a little appearance. Sticking your head in.
Oh, we're off now, aren't we?
Tonight.
Thank you.
Get the hook.
Well, we've been on for an hour and 25 minutes.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So it's been a marathon show.
Well, George is really awesome.
Thanks,
We
Mom.
think so.
You're welcome.
Take your pineapple. Don't forget your pineapple.
Bye, Dan.
Bye.
Bye, Mom.
So my mom will be on next week, right? We're going to drag her down to Santa Monica.
There you go. Send one of those vans out to get her, one of those car services.
Yeah, doesn't like to be driving on the highways of Southern California.
No, I haven't. Honestly, I have not let my mom drive since she's been here, and it's really it's a different level of driving. I mean, it's high speed, aggressive, and yeah,
it's nuts.
It's kind of nuts. It's kind of
nuts,
it
so. Is, and then sometimes you're not going anywhere.
It's true.
It's like.
Speaking of not going anywhere, if you guys haven't tuned in to VO Buzz today, I'm on the show today, which is kind of
I can't wait to watch that.
I haven't even watched the whole episode yet, but it's part 1 of 2. It's episode 42, which I think is cool because that's my favorite number, so that's pretty neat. But it took me an hour and 40 minutes to get to their studio, and it's not more than, I think, 15 miles from my house. And I was texting them on the way there saying, I'm at Sunset now. I'm coming up on Mulholland Highway. It's because I was cutting through the surface streets and, driving over the mountain, whatever I could do to avoid the freeway. And Chuck calls me and says, why are you texting and driving? And I said, I'm not driving. I'm sitting here. There's a big difference. Don't worry. I'm not driving.
Yeah, besides all the cops going there texting too, so what's the big deal?
Exactly. You pull up next to cops, and most of the time they're looking down at their computer. Yeah,
but never give them a dirty look though.
Ooh, no. Unless you see them holding their laser gun, they're usually looking down at the computer. So
yeah. Anyway, well, I think that's going to clean this up in a nice, neat little bow here.
Yeah.
That's a mixed metaphor, but we'll use it anyway. Next week we're going to do a Google Hangout.
Yeah, send in your questions. Anything you guys want to talk about, topics, current events that have to do with the voiceover business. Doesn't have to be just tech. It could be about ACX. It could be, anything that affects our business, chime in.
Right. And it's a group discussion. It's sort of like FAFCON. People can say what they want to say about it. So it's not
maybe
just
there's a topic that you had covered at FAFCON that you want to expound upon, or maybe you want to keep going on something you started at FAFCON. We could have this kind of be the extension of FAFCON in a way.
It could.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, so I'll be there eventually. I'm coming back from Toronto, but we'll I should be here for that. So we've got to find a way to make sure that we get everybody in there, because everybody's like, I want to be in the Google Hangout. How do we get them in there?
It's tough. What I'm going to do for this show is, first of all, send in if you want to be in the chat room, send us a question or a topic. That's the first thing I'm going to do to kind of limit the number of people we have on. Then what we'll do is I'll try my best. It's not easy to do this, but I'll kind of maybe ask people to, if you've been on the show before, or say you've been on every Hangout so far, I'll ask you if we're full. Maybe I'll ask you to please kindly bow out and let somebody else in. It only allows 10 of us, and if Dan and I are on, that's 8 more of you. And I know some shows, once they lock it down and there's 8 people in, they don't let anybody else. But I think it'd be fun to kind of rotate it. So if you're in the room with us and you've been on before and we do fill up, we might, say, please, watch the feed on YouTube instead. And because the show is being shown on YouTube and on Ustream simultaneously. Whoa.
Look at the choices you have.
Airplane
but you can't leave the room, George, because then we suddenly are doing 2 shows.
Yeah, I know. That was the problem last time, where we had somebody else jump in when I left the room, or when I got kicked out of the room, or whatever happened. I had a problem, and I couldn't get back in for like 5 minutes. So, it takes a little bit of nuancing to do the Hangouts. It's a totally different thing. But I think that's what we'll do. We'll just keep people rotating and keep people in there that want to be engaged and be a part of the conversation, and I think it'll be fun.
Absolutely. Well, that's gonna do it for us this week. It was great having Eric on. He's an absolute fountain of knowledge with this stuff. Well, he is
true.
He's the guy when it comes to acoustics.
Boy, he and I could share a coffee for a couple of hours, man.
I just took in a coffee IV, the 2 of you. That would be pretty good.
Oh man, no kidding.
Anyway, well, that's going to do it. I'm Dan Leonard in the East.
And I'm George Whittam in the West.
And together we are East-West Audio Body Shop. Have a great week, everybody. We'll see you next time.
Take care, everybody. Have a good night.